What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Creep It 100. Today, I am your host. I am Mark, and I'm here with Jeanette and Kinson.
What's up? How you doing?
Hey!
And today, we are going over the British film Hellraiser. It was written and directed by Clive Barker, and it was released in 1987. It's definitely one of the most unique films I think I've ever seen. I would put it up there with, like, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It's very different. It's not what I expected at all. This is my first time watching it, as well as Jeanette and Kinson's first time watching it. So yeah, I had no knowledge of Hellraiser going into it. And to be honest, I totally thought Pinhead was going to be in this movie a lot more.
Same.
Because, you know, he's on all the advertisements.
Yeah, he's the cover.
Yeah. But we'll get more into that later. We'll talk about Pinhead later, and his involvement in the franchise later on. As of right now, let's break down this movie. All right, so the film opens up with two guys with very dirty fucking fingernails. And they... Did you guys see that? Did you guys peep that?
Yes.
Oh my god. I was literally like, I will pay you $100 just to, like, cut and clean those claws, dude. That was nasty.
That was actually fucking foul. Yeah, so we have Frank, who is the guy, he's on the right side of the screen, and then we've got a vendor on the left. And Frank ends up buying this box from the vendor, and that box actually has a name. It's never said in the movie. It's called the Lamet Configuration. That's too long, so we're just going to call it the box, okay?
Deal.
All right, so after they make the exchange, the vendor says, "It's yours, it always was," which I thought was interesting, and it kind of hooked me at that point. So I was like, all right, this box is something goofy, something silly is going on with the box.
Absolutely.
So then he goes back to his house, he goes into his attic, and, you know, he starts solving the configuration. So he opens the box, and all we see is a bunch of hooks go into this man's body. And then for some reason, it like hard cuts to a house, and then it hard cuts back to a bunch of chains, like with a bunch of flesh on it.
Yeah. This movie did have a lot of moments like that where it hard cut like to just the most random picture in the world, and then back to it. Like we'll get into a specific one that I want to talk about much later, but it does this a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think it is because the director wanted this to be more of an art project than a horror movie. And that shows a lot throughout the movie. You can see where his mind was and how he wanted it to be like more artsy.
That does make sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of scenes where you're like, oh, well, we didn't need that, but that was pretty. Yeah, and another thing I liked about this movie was this movie came out in the era of horror and comedy going hand in hand. Like we had Freddy Krueger, who was just goofy. We had Friday the 13th Part 6, which was goofy. So this movie, Clive Barker wanted it to be more serious, and it took itself more serious in a time where horror movies did not take themselves serious. And I think it worked. I think it worked very well.
I agree.
So anyway, let's get back to the movie. So after we see all these hooks go into Frank's body, they all tear him apart. And we see the Cenobites walk in. I think we see two of them. I know we see Pinhead. Is the other one the female?
Yeah, it's the girl.
Yeah.
So we see,
yes.
And by the way, she's credited as female Cenobite. She does not have a name. Every other Cenobite does. Every other Cenobite does.
I saw that.
But she does not have a name. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I did see that, and I was a little confused when I started looking through the cast. The only reason I was looking through the cast is because I felt like I recognized the daughter.
Kirsty?
Yeah. I don't know who I thought it was, but it's not who I thought it was.
I had a little crush on her during this movie. I'm not going to front, bro. I'm not going to front.
I love her hair. Like, that's what I was paying attention to. Maybe that's just me.
So anyway, we see all the two Cenobites come in, and then we see one of them put Frank's face back together on the floor as if it was a puzzle, which I thought was interesting because the box itself is a puzzle. So I like that little correlation there.
Yeah. That is nice.
Yeah, and then after that, we cut to the house again, and then we see Larry and Julia, and they are inspecting the house. Larry's all about moving in, but Julia isn't so sure yet. So, you know, he's showing her around the house, and they're there to clean it after his brother Frank had gone missing. They'd assumed that Frank was, you know, imprisoned or on the run. Something weird, because Frank, he's the black sheep of their family. It's obvious. He's up to no good always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, can I say something?
Yeah.
Why does every horror movie start off like it starts off so like brutal, and then it goes directly to we're gonna buy a house. Someone died here probably, but we're gonna buy it, and it's probably haunted, but we're still gonna buy it. Like it always does that. I don't know, or maybe
I think it's just to catch your attention.
That's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
to catch your attention, then bring your guard down so that when the next scary thing happens, you're surprised again.
oh,
That's exactly what it is. It's the horror movie formula.
cool.
So anyway, they're going through the house, and then Julia ends up finding these pictures of Frank in the attic, and they're pretty graphic. But Julia ends up, you know, taking one, keeping it to herself, and then we see this really weird flashback sequence, and we find out that Julia had an affair with Frank.
Oh.
That was crazy. I was like, I didn't expect that. So for those listening who haven't seen Hellraiser, Frank is Larry's brother, and Larry and Julia are together.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna be real with you. I knew that. I knew what was happening when she found that. Only because if you read the first little like synopsis of Hellraiser, like on Google, like when it tells you what the movie's about, it says Julia and what's his name? Sorry, the husband. Larry. Julia and Larry move into a house, and then Julia discovers that her first love, Frank, is still around. Blah blah blah. It says that in like the synopsis, so I was like, oh, okay, that's Frank, and I know exactly like they used to be a thing.
I didn't even read the synopsis, bro.
And then it showed the trailer, and I was like, well, I didn't read the synopsis. I literally just read like it's like what it says, Hellraiser, and then the little paragraph about it at the bottom, and I didn't think it was gonna have spoilers like that.
Jesus, brother hopping. Jesus.
Brother.
Hashtag brother hopping.
She home wrecking.
Big time, dude.
She's taking home wrecking to a whole new level, bro.
This movie made me worried. I know people like Julia. That's all I'm saying. Moving on.
Ooh.
We're not allowed to call out people on our podcast anymore, or else I would. So you got lucky.
we got told no more name dropping on the podcast.
This one was personal too, bro.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, let's get back into the movie. So we see the flashback of the affair. And then, you know, while it's interchanging with this, we meet Kirsty, who is Larry's daughter and Julia's stepdaughter. And Julia and Kirsty don't get along, and you can tell right away that they kind of have this beef going. And then there's this really weird scene, like, where they have the movers in the house, and the young mover's like, damn, your dog. Like, he says it to the dad. He's like, damn, I want a piece of that, essentially. Right to the dad, and the dad's like, yep.
Literally, the second note on my thing is creepy ass movers.
Creepy ass movers.
Well,
because I was like, bro, he says that, and then he says the same thing. He says something to Kirsty too, or Kirsty. He says something to Kirsty right after she walks in the house, and then he goes in again.
You know what? It works out for my man in the end, so good on him for being proactive, I guess. Be a little less creepy next time, though. You know?
Yeah, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't live in the 80s. I don't know. I don't know if being creepy was like a way to get girls in the 80s. I don't know. So while after this scene happens, this really uncomfortable scene happens, we then see Larry trying to move the bed up the steps, and then he cuts his hand on a nail.
Mm-hmm.
And that special effects was actually kind of impressive. I'm not even gonna lie.
It was pretty good. It was not bad at all.
It was smooth. Like there was no cut off or anything.
No, it looked. The blood was a little too bright red, but other than that cut looked real as shit.
Oh my god, that's literally what I was gonna say. Why does it look orange like throughout the whole movie?
So then Larry goes upstairs and he finds Julia in the attic where, you know, Frank was before he got taken by the Cenobites. And he's bleeding all over the floor.
Mhm.
And then we see that his blood kind of seeps into the attic floor. And that starts the resurrection of Frank. Which was wild. I was like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on, dude.
Dude, it looked like a spider.
Like I said, I was expecting Pinhead.
Yeah, it looked like a spider coming out of there.
Dude, it was so gross when he came out of the floor.
It was even nastier.
Yeah.
It was even nastier when he connected his head. That was the worst part about it. When he like stabbed his...
Oh, I know. The brain, when his brain came like out and like...
Brain? That was so nasty.
That was really good special effects,
It was.
dude.
It really was, actually.
The slimy parts.
It was fucking gross. My stomach started hurting. And that doesn't happen to me, dude. That doesn't happen to me during horror movies. Yeah, so we see Frank literally rise up from the floor, and it's the most foul scene you could ever picture. It's comparable to like the grossest scene in John Carpenter's The Thing. It's that bad. So Julia goes up to the attic, and then she finds Frank, and Frank's like, "Don't look at me." And then she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Frank. We used to fuck."
Basically.
And then he was like, "I need more blood. I need more blood. I need more blood to come back, like, to get to the next stage of life." And then, this is not at all where I expected this movie to go. Julia starts picking up dudes from bars and taking them back to the house.
I think the best part is how she agrees to do it is because she knows that she married like the loser brother. And then Frank's like, "I need help." And then she's like, "No, absolutely not." She shuts the door and then she leaves. And then she's just laying in bed next to this little baby bitch boy who's literally in the fetal position and like, like in his sleep. Like this dude literally is like sleeping like a cartoon. He's literally like me 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 me. And then he's like, and then she gets up and then she walks back in the room. She goes, "I'll do it." And he goes, "Good." And then just looks away from him. And then then she starts doing the
My husband got drunk.
This is not at all what I expected this movie to be, by the way. Like, at all.
Same.
No, same.
I thought it was about just Pinhead torturing people that kind of deserved it.
Same. I had no idea.
That's what I was under
Kind
the
of like a
impression it
Saw
was.
moment. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Anyway, she lures this dude into the attic, and then she takes a hammer to his skull several times.
Mm-hmm.
And then Frank, we don't see it, but Frank uses the blood to get to the next stage.
That dude.
And now he's got a little bit of muscle there. He's looking more human.
That dude also is so creepy when he gets in the house. Like, do you remember like he gets in the house and like,
"You're not gonna change your mind on me, are
yes,
you?"
bro. He like they're like kissing and she's like, I
was like, "Oh."
yeah. And then he says that he like gets really close to her and he goes, "You're not gonna fucking change your mind, are you?" And I was like, "Whoa!" And then he goes, "Oh, sorry."
At that point, I was like, you know what?
I was like, you know, take him upstairs.
Julia, kill him.
Take him upstairs. You're out.
Yeah,
You're cut from the team, bro.
Frank have him. Yeah, and then we get this scene that I didn't expect at all. Kirsty and Steve, the fucking mover guy, are hanging out, kissing and shit. I just did not expect that. It was...
Is that the mover guy?
Yeah.
I thought that was just the guy from dinner.
That's what I thought too.
I didn't think that was also the mover guy.
No, it's pretty sure it's the mover guy.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. I did not know that. And then also at that dinner, they have like a little small dinner that's like pretty skipped over. It's not really an important scene. But during that, I wanted to point out, and I bet you saw it too, Mark, is there was a Joseph Mengele reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I did. That was crazy.
Yeah, they said he said something along the lines of, "This doctor was poking and prodding me with all the care of Joseph Mengele." And I said, "Wow, all right, we're gonna go there." Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up. However, that scene was so unimportant that I decided to skip over it, but I'm glad you said something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one thing. That scene, other than that one little reference, and that reference isn't even important for the movie. I just wanted to bring it up because we've talked about Mengele like 3 or 4 times on this podcast. It's funny that it got brought up.
Yeah, and then so after, we see Steve and Kirsty, having a good time. They go to bed, and Kirsty has these nightmares of her dad, which will come into play later in the movie. So after that scene, we get Julia's second victim. It's another hammer to the face. And then we see Frank again, and he's more and more of a human, and he's smoking a cigarette. And he's geeked because he can actually taste things now.
Ugh, the slimy grossness of that whole scene just, like, makes my stomach hurt.
Oh, like all the blood and shit
like,
just
it's
pouring off his
leaking
body.
from his chin. Like, I don't usually get grossed out, but with that, like, slimy
Ew.
shit, I'm like, ugh, I need a pause.
My man constantly has a drip on his chin. That little thing right there is on him in every single scene until he starts getting better. And then also right before he I can't remember if it was the first time that he rose up or if it was the one right after the murder, but they do a Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe reference where Julia's walking through like the things and you can hear underneath the floorboards just like of like his
the heartbeat, yeah,
the heartbeat under the floorboards, which I thought was a direct Edgar Allan Poe reference from Telltale Heart.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
I don't know why they showed us that for the first time in 7th grade. That was so brutal. To me, at least.
Oh, Telltale Heart?
Yes!
I thought you were talking about Hellraiser. I said, excuse me.
No.
What school did you go
Yeah,
to?
literally. Most metal school ever.
So, yeah, after he has that cigarette, he then explains the puzzle box to Julia. He talks about, how the whole pleasure and pain thing, and then he talked about how he was tortured by the Cenobites and that they may come after him. And they're on a time crunch to get him back into his human form. So then after that, Larry has dinner with Kirsty, and she asks if she could, connect more with Julia, because, there's that strain there. And then we cut to Julia's third victim.
I felt so bad for that third guy.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh,
so on his way into the house where Julia is guiding him, Kirsty sees that Julia is bringing this guy into the house. So she's sus. So she's like, all right, that's fucked up. So yeah, she like gashes his like jaw. It's pretty gnarly. It's gnarly special effects.
Yeah, that one's a little rough. I was just gonna say right before that, when right before Larry and Kirsty go to dinner, there's a scene that I wanted to bring up, which was honestly the scariest scene in the entire movie for me, which is where Julia is distracting Larry because Larry hears Frank upstairs. He hears like something moving around. He wants to go check it out, but Julia's trying to avoid him, like or get him to stop. And so to do this, she's trying to distract him with sex, and they bring them in the room, and then Frank's hiding in the closet of their bedroom and sees that they're like about to have sex, and he gets pissed and he wants to kill Larry. And Larry's face down on the bed on top of Julia. So Julia can see Frank in the closet getting closer and closer with like a switchblade. And he's like kind of put together at this point, but he's just bloody as hell. And so he just slowly starts walking towards the bed with the switchblade. That was one of the scariest moments in the entire movie for me.
Which, by the way,
So,
I don't know
like,
why she wasn't,
ominous.
or he wasn't questioning. Like that whole, don't go up there. Please don't go in there. Please don't go. Oh, I'd be asking hella questions.
Yeah. What do you know? What do you know?
Oh, well, since when were you scared of thunder, babe?
I know.
Since when? Why are you?
She wasn't scared of Brooklyn Thunder.
Yeah, that Brooklyn Thunder didn't. Oh, by the way, this movie has no setting. They left it ambiguous.
Yeah, they did. You just know where they were.
It's supposed to be somewhere on the East Coast of the United States. But it was filmed in England. I don't know. There's something. Look into that, viewers. It's weird because originally it was going to take place in England, but they switched it to the East Coast just to appeal to Americans more. It's kind of wild. So Kirsty goes into the house. Meanwhile, Frank is draining the third victim's life source. And Kirsty walks up the steps, and victim 3 kind of runs out of the room, like pleading for his life. So she sees this guy who's just like halfway drained of his life force, just begging for help. And then, Frank walks out, and he tries to explain to her that it's Uncle Frank, and obviously something had happened in the past with them because he makes really weird advances towards her.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, you know, what is it? Come to daddy. That shit's nasty.
Yeah, I hated that. I did not want that to be the catchphrase.
Why did he say it
of
so
Frank.
naturally though? Like, hey, it's Uncle Frank. It's Uncle. Come to daddy.
And then he said,
no, bye.
Come to daddy. It's just like, oh. Yep, he gets her in the attic, and then he, like I said, he makes those weird advances, and then he tells her that she's in a world of pain, and that's what makes pleasure so much sweeter. Yeah, so she has him backed up against the window in the attic, and then she kind of takes her hand and shoves it into his like guts that are all exposed, by the way.
That was disgusting, bro.
Frank's hurting. Kirsty then grabs the box, and Frank's like, "No, give me the box," and she says, "You want it? You can have it," and she throws it out the fucking window. And then Kirsty runs out of the house. She grabs the box, and then she starts running. And she must be running for a while because that bitch passes out.
Mm-hmm.
That bitch passes out.
I was confused on whether or not that was because she was like running for a long time, she was scared, or if that's because something the box did something to her.
The box wasn't unlocked. I was probably just out of fear, to be honest, because I mean,
yeah, true.
Look at Frank.
Passed out right then and there.
Yeah, so she passes out.
I would be scared if I found a real life White Walker.
Yeah, that's
just
fucking scary. Anyway, so she passes out, and this feels like a great place to take a break. We'll convene when she wakes up.
This episode's pretty creepy, but you guys know what's even more creepy is getting hacked online or even stalked. How I fear of losing my private information to some random creep that you don't even know. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys think the same, but hey, don't worry because NordVPN can prevent all that for you just how it did for me. NordVPN is the world's leading VPN and malware blocking service. It secures your internet data with military-grade encryption, ensures your web activity remains private and helps bypass geographic content restrictions online, and it allows you to connect to over 5,000 servers in 56 countries. You can now try NordVPN risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee when you sign up for one of their annual plans. Now, do yourself a grand favor and please click the link in the description below to sign up and start browsing the web with confidence today.
All right, guys, welcome back to our Hellraiser episode. Let's just jump right back in. So then Kirsty, after she passes out, she wakes up in this hospital. And she's a little freaked the fuck out because, you know,
understandably,
Uncle Frank is a fucking muscle. And he's a fucking muscle and tried to assault her.
Yeah, he looks like a medical chart.
Fucked up. Fucked up shit going on. So she tries to get up and the doctor's like, no, lay down. She's like, we need to call my dad. And she was like, or the doctor's like, we'll get to that. We can have that arranged. Just right now, lay the fuck down. So she lays down and she starts messing with the fucking box. And she figures it must not be a hard puzzle to solve because people are getting that shit left and right, bro.
Literally.
So she solves the puzzle, the box opens, and the wall opens in this really cool effect. I don't even know what it looked like. It was fucking cool.
It reminded me of Harry Potter.
It reminded me of Beetlejuice.
So then Kirsty's like, oh, what's that? And she goes into the wall. And there's this long-ass hallway where there's this big-ass creature with, like, a fucking stinger.
No.
Apparently that monster has a name. It's called the Engineer. I don't know why it's called that, but it is. So yeah, so this big-ass creature is chasing her down this hallway. And she manages to get out. And, you know, we get this really cool effect where all the brick starts lighting up, which was badass. And all of the other Cenobites come in. So we see all the other Cenobites come in, and Pinhead kind of explains who they are.
Yeah.
And, you know, what they do, the whole pleasure-pain thing, and all that stuff. So then Kirsty's like, she's like begging them, like, no, please. You know Frank. And they're like, yeah, we know fucking Frank. Yeah. And she's like, he got out. I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you Frank if I can live. And the Cenobites are basically like, maybe.
They didn't believe her at first. Like, nobody escapes us.
They were like, nobody gets out. Yeah.
Like,
Also, one of my favorite lines is in that scene. It's when he goes, oh my God, he says so many good things. There's like 4 lines I can think of. He does the, we will tear your soul apart. That, and then he does the, oh, no tears, please. It's a good waste of suffering.
Yep. That was a good
Pinhead
one.
has fire fucking lines.
He has lines in this movie. He's there maybe 6 minutes total on screen, and he has lines. He delivers every time.
You know what? I can see why Pinhead was so popular. Each time he was on the screen, he was so captivating.
Yeah.
As creepy as he looks, he was so satisfying to look at. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why.
I agree.
Yeah, he was. All of them were pretty cool to look at, but Pinhead had a flair. There was a flair there.
He did. I didn't like that little chomper one.
Ugh.
His name is Chatterer.
Of course it is.
You know the fat one that kept licking his lips?
The cool one with the glasses.
The one that
his name is
stuck its fingers in her mouth?
Yep, Butterball.
Dude, imagine being this almighty Cenobite and your name's Butterball.
Imagine being the only Cenobite being called female Cenobite.
True. Butterball, Chomper, female Cenobite. Roll out.
Chatterer. Not Chomper.
Chomper.
Yeah, so, the Cenobite's like, all right, maybe to this deal. Take us to Frank and we'll see what happens. So Kirsty runs home to her dad and Julia. Except, it's not Larry anymore. Frank ended up taking Larry and taking his fucking skin.
Yep.
That was so
And once she realizes it was Frank, she gives him this big-ass scratch on his face. Like, it's gnarly. You see that skin hanging off?
Okay, but it took her so long to figure it out. 1, how did you not figure out, like, the edges of his face? And 2...
I know. He looks so gross.
Of his eyes. The color of his eyes changed because Larry's eyes are blue, and then all of a sudden they were brown. So that's kind of.
Oh, I didn't even see.
Yeah,
that.
I'm like, he looks weird. Also, fun fact, something that I figured out myself. I'm like, this guy Larry looks very familiar. I've seen him somewhere. Where was he? He was in Child's Play 3. He was the barber.
Oh.
No way.
Yeah.
The barber.
Yeah, the one that got his neck sliced.
Oh fuck! with the straight edge razor.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm like, oh, cute.
Oh, I love the Child Play movies, dude. They're so fun. They're so fun. Fucking some of them are fucking bad, but they're fun.
Oh, sir. Yep.
Anyway, so after Kirsty scratches Frank's face, Julia grabs her. It's kind of holding her down. Frank, aka Larry, pulls out his knife and starts approaching. And in a crazy fucking twist of events, he stabs Julia.
Yeah. Yeah, I still couldn't tell if that was on purpose or not.
Yeah, because
Kirsty dodged it. But then he said it's nothing personal to Julia, so that made me think it was on purpose.
Yeah. It's very back and forth. I think he just didn't give a shit who was the victim in that situation.
Either or.
So while he's draining Julia's body, fucking Kirsty runs upstairs, and she doesn't want to go into the attic. She goes into this room where, there's a bunch of Jesus Christ statues.
It's a lot of Jesus imagery throughout this entire
I'm not going to lie, when that big one kind of fell out, I jumped. Scared the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck!
In the closet.
Yeah, so, Frank starts coming up the steps looking for her. And one of the fucking corpses falls on top of her, and all these fucking maggots fall out of his mouth.
Ew.
So, yeah, so there's obviously some noise coming from there. So, Frank finds out she's in there. Kirsty comes out, starts fucking... She just stands there and cries, and Frank comes out of the attic and finds her. They somehow, they end up back in the attic again. And the fucking Cenobites show up. And Frank is like, you set me up! And she's like, fuck yeah, I did. And dude, this scene's fucking gross. All those hooks start coming out again.
Oh my god.
Oh god. And this time we actually see it start pulling his skin.
Yeah.
So then Frank, he says his last line, which is, and then Jesus Christ wept. That was all improvised. And I thought that was so scary. And Clive Barker loved it so much. Because originally it was just like a fuck you. That line was supposed to be just like, fuck you. But that added so much more weight to it.
Yeah. That was a crazy line.
Yeah, and then we then see the Cenobites pull him apart.
Yeah.
Man basically explodes.
That part made me gag.
So once he's dead, the Cenobites turn to Kirsty and they go after her. And she's like, wait, I thought we had a deal. And then Pinhead goes, oh, another great line. We have such sights to show you. She then begins to do the puzzle, and like one by one, she starts sending back the Cenobites to whatever fucking dimension they're from. Except Butterball. Butterball just gets the house collapses on Butterball.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, okay, so she literally removed everyone else except him.
Yeah, except Butterball.
Wait, so does that mean he's just like still like chilling,
Probably.
like in the universe? Because she didn't like get him.
He went back. I know that Butterball's in the sequel, so he went back eventually. And you know, after Butterball gets crushed, they open the door and they see the engineer at the front door, and they end up sending the engineer back as well. And then after that, we get this really weird scene where they're standing at the fire, and this homeless man that we've seen twice in the movie, very small, very, very small role, comes up. He sees that they threw, you know, the puzzle box in the fire, and he just goes in there and grabs it. And then my man turns into a dragon and flies away.
That was the weirdest fucking scene I've ever seen in my life. That had nothing to do with anything. This man walked into a fire, almost burned to death, picked up a box, turned into a skeleton dragon, and flew away, and that was it. There's no more mention of him. I was so confused by that scene.
The cricket eater.
Oh, yeah. Back earlier in the movie, and I skipped over the scene because, you know, I have 8 pages of notes, so I can't talk about every scene. Gotta keep it a good...
Right.
Gotta keep it flowing. But there's a scene, Kirsty works at this pet shop, and this homeless man comes in, and he just starts eating crickets. Very small scene. Kind of felt like it had nothing to do with the story until the end. And even then, I was like, they could have kept all of that out.
Yeah, it has to have something to do with the sequels, I feel like.
It has to. I haven't seen them, so I don't know. So then the movie ends with the vendor selling the box to another person. Then we get the credits. I was genuinely surprised how much I liked this movie. It was disgusting. It was almost like a weird love story drama. And it was not at all what I was expecting, dude. Like I expected Pinhead to just torture a bunch of people that kind of deserved it. That's what I always thought this movie was about. I didn't know there was this weird romance.
Right. Honestly, it was a lot more gory than I was expecting it. I wasn't expecting it to be gory, like that gross. And
it was pretty gross.
I was honestly expecting more of Pinhead. I thought it was going to be like some sort of cult thing. Like
actually, same.
Yeah, like
same.
I thought it was going to be more about like them haunting people, like, but no, it had to do with a muscle man and gross slimy shit, so that's great.
I would give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It's not the best horror movie I've seen, but I was captivated, and for that I give it a high rating.
I think I'll go. Yeah, I think I'll agree with you on that one. Actually, I think 7.5 out of 10 is good. It's fair.
I give it a solid 7 out of 10, just because like I only enjoyed it after Christy went to the hospital. Like, after that is when I started enjoying it.
I was captivated from the beginning to the end.
I was trying to enjoy it, like, from the beginning, but I didn't understand it much in the beginning, not gonna lie. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, that's what got me. It was the mystery. I was like, oh, what is going on? That's what kept me, like, engaged.
Right.
With the movie. Kinson, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, my thoughts on this movie is, you know, when we started this podcast, I thought we were going to watch movies that would be enjoyable and it was going to be a fun time. And today showed me that I was wrong. and that I was going to have to put myself through fucking disgusting movies like this for the audience's entertainment. And you know, it was fine. It was good. It was just gross. I'm just not a big gore guy, and it was extremely gory. I did not know that that was the case.
Oh, I had no idea. My stomach was hurting, dude. I was about to throw up last night watching it.
See, and I'm good with, okay, that sounds a little weird. I'm good with gory movies, but that was gross.
I don't know. I think body horror is different. When you're looking at, oh, Jesus, my stomach already hurting. When you're looking at Frank rise up from the ground looking like a blob of just, I don't even know what that was, bro.
It's just, listen, I'm gonna like probably throw up, but it's the slime. No, I'm just gonna shut up because I'm actually like, I'm already sick. Listen, I'm sick. So just talking about it makes me even more like, bleh. It's just the sliminess. Nope.
All right, well, I got some fun facts here I'd like to go over before we get into our 1-star reviews. So
perfect, let's hear them.
Obviously, Pinhead was not supposed to be the main character, but people were so captivated by Doug Bradley's performance that he became the star of the franchise and the poster boy for the first movie. The Cenobites look was inspired by S&M clubs. I bet you could pick that up with all the leather and
that makes sense.
This is a really fun. This is one of my favorite facts. I have a favorite fact, but this is my second favorite. Someone's job on that set, their title was Maggot and Roach Wrangler.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
And my favorite fun fact, and this one's so crazy to me, was that there was almost a Pinhead versus Michael Myers movie called Halloween.
Oh my God.
You know what?
Clive Barker was set to write it, and John Carpenter was set to direct it. So, you know, it could have been, with those two, I feel like it could have been great.
I could have been.
However, the who we call the grandfather of Halloween, Mustafa Akkad, he was kind of the rights holder, and his family still owns the Halloween name. He was like, nah, I don't want to do that. So Clive Barker and John Carpenter back down.
All right. Fair enough.
I feel like that would have been a good movie, though.
I kind of wish it was around just so I could see what would happen.
It might have been a little cheap.
Because I don't know who would win. Pinhead versus Michael Myers? I don't know who would win.
The interdimensional being.
Okay, Jeanette says Michael. You say the Cenobites. I say, man, fuck it. Let them fight. I'm trying to see it.
Pinhead didn't move.
Well, it was Pinhead versus Michael, not the Cenobites versus Michael.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, Michael did like win against the whole block, but so
yeah, but they weren't sent. Nobody on that block was a Cenobite.
I mean, true, but like you said, it's Pinhead versus Michael, not Pinhead and the Cenobites versus Michael. So maybe.
Yeah, and by the time, you know, Hellraiser had come out, this is in the phase where Michael Myers is supernatural and an unstoppable force. So it's the timeline where Michael Myers cannot die.
Right. All right.
Interesting. I don't know about that one then. I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's a toss up.
So it would have played out super weird. I'm sure it would have been a movie. It would have been a crazy movie.
Probably. But I'm excited to hear these 1-star reviews, not gonna lie.
So am I. So let's get into them.
All right. So, once again, I have some 1-star reviews for Hellraiser. I have about 5 of them. And there's a few just like quick one-liners, and then there's one that's my favorite. And I'll tell you when we get to that one. So the first one up is, we have 1 out of 10 has not aged well. Then the description of that says, this movie is slow, boring, incredibly grainy, and looks so dated. It looks like this movie has been smoking crack for 30 years.
I low-key agree with that review.
Not gonna lie,
yeah. Okay, next one is 1 out of 10, probably the worst horror movie film I've ever seen. And then it says, and I've seen a lot of horror films. Super cool guy here.
So
and
cool.
He says, no plot, bland characters, no plot. Also, why is the movie called Hellraiser? He was barely in it. Clearly, it was a gimmick title, and a better suited title would have helped this already poorly built film, which is funny because
Hellraiser was barely in the movie, bro.
That his name was
That's not even his name.
That's what made me laugh, is because he just clearly didn't know that That's not who it is.
God.
All right, this is my favorite one. This one is like the most like classic like Call of Duty is bad for our youth mom that left this review.
Here we go.
It says 1 out of 10 stars. This franchise should be banned forever. All in caps. I watched this film when I was a child. It scared me a lot. Now I know why. This movie is disgusting, and most of all, it makes you feel like you're in hell for real. I watched it one time, and I'm not going to watch it again. After watching one of these movies, it makes you dream nightmares, or urges you to do crimes or wrong things. This movie has no meaningful message, no meaningful plot, only disgusting images of disgusting murders with no sense. I am sure these movies contributed for the rise of murders and crimes in every country where it aired. Bottom line, horrible movie. I give all the franchise 1 out of 10 because I cannot give a 0 out of 10.
Well, first of all, Karen, blame your parents, not the movie, since you said you watched it as a child. Who let you watch that movie? Let's start there.
Yeah, for real.
That's a good point. Who let you watch that as a child?
My mom loves this movie, bro, and I don't think she would ever show me this as a kid.
Oh God.
Yeah.
She showed me The Exorcist.
Oh,
so.
that's much better.
I don't know. I watched the movie and I haven't even thought about murdering someone once. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, I feel fine.
Yep, I feel pretty.
I don't feel like I was in hell at all.
Yeah, it didn't feel like hell either.
In fact, that movie was my escape from this real life.
All right.
All right. I was gonna get really dark there, but I changed my mind. Anyway.
All right. Next up is 1 out of 10. Thoroughly horrible. It says, "What the heck?" in all caps. This movie is terrible. Just a mixture of what, huh, and goopy gore.
I agree, honestly. I agree with that one.
This one is not my favorite, but it's the funniest to me just because it's so dumb and it's written by someone named Aaron, and it just reminds me of something that our friend Aaron would say. And it just says it's 4 out of 10. The title of it is Huh? And then it said movie equals what if there was a Rubik's Cube from hell? And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something Aaron would say.
It's so dumb. That one just made me laugh as I was going with it.
I'm like enjoying these 1-star reviews more than the actual movie, not gonna lie.
You didn't like it, did you?
I mean, I wouldn't watch it again, but like I said, I only enjoyed it after Chrissy got out of the hospital. Or like when she passed out from there on. But it made me gag.
That's fair. It's fair. It definitely wasn't the most enjoyable movie we've watched on this podcast. Yeah. Probably the least enjoyable movie we've watched so far.
Listen, I'm like all for cheap, cheesy movies, but I'm just gonna put a little comparison. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is 10 times more better than this one. And that's a corny ass movie.
There was a review that I didn't screenshot that said Killer Clowns from Outer Space was scarier than this movie.
No, seriously. And honestly, it was a good movie, sort of. I guess because I'm all for clowns and shit. So, but it was a good movie.
All right. Well, I think that covers Hellraiser, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Creep It 100. Don't be afraid to follow us on social media at Creep It 100 Pod. And we've got this new little feature where you can support the show. You can donate to us or whatever. Maybe share it with your friends. We'd appreciate all the support. Feel free to leave, a review of the show. We'd love to hear what you would think. Yeah. And be sure to follow us on social media for exclusive content. And you can request movies, conspiracy theories, and all that fun stuff there. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Thank you again for listening.